21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Yeah, so
Are you launching any product?
Yeah, so what happened five years ago, I was on a podcast and I generated around 900 leads from that. Like,
900 leads.
700 leads in 3 days.
Like hot leads?
Yeah, very good. And it was on podcast, what was it called? Entrepreneur on Fire. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, holy moly, this podcasting thing is just absolutely amazing. So, but then I started doing some other things in my life, and I didn't really have much need for leads. You know, you probably read in my bio that I'm the founder of Entrepreneurs in London, so I get tons and tons of leads through there. So gotten away from it, but now I have one book coming out very soon and another one coming out quite soon after that, and I just have a lot of different trainings and mastermind groups, and I've kind of prepared for it for a long time, and I knew that, okay, around May, I'm going to hit the button and then go out on tons and tons of podcasts, because it's been the best way to market myself that I've ever tried.
Same time every morning.
Amazing. Your mastermind groups, are you calling them mastermind groups or tribes or both?
Jump into the rain like a baby.
Both. So I have both masterminds, but I also have Entrepreneurs in London, which is a meetup. And then we have some smaller, more exclusive tribes, if you will.
You are founder of Europe's biggest business meetup group, 27,500 members. That's amazing.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing. So what happened was I started my first business when I was 21 and went bankrupt really, really quickly. And that was a pretty horrible experience. And then failed in another business.
Yes, we are talking a lot about our sales activities from the entrepreneur perspective and our ups and downs. Are there any in your case?
There are more than two. It was absolutely horrible to go through that first bankruptcy, because my parents told me, don't start a business, you're crazy to start a business, and then when I failed with them, they were there pointing their finger and say, yo, we told you so, you're crazy, right? And so that was tough.
So you were not synchronized with your environment, with the context you were immersed into.
Completely opposed for me to go into business. But you know what? I knew back then, I was going to be a successful entrepreneur one day because I loved it.
How did you know? On an emotional level or?
Yeah, it was just emotional.
Spiritual level, intellectual level, visual level.
It was
everything.
Just everything. Yeah, I'm just like
level.
Waking up in the morning and feeling like, my God, I'm in control of my life. I can do what I want. It was just an amazing feeling, right? Amazing feeling. So struggled forward, failed for 14 years, and then reached a point where I said, okay, my life is just not okay. I can't stand this anymore. And I drew a serious line in the sand and said, okay, now I'm ready to do whatever it takes. No more excuses. No more running away from things I'm afraid of.
Excuse me, Patrick. Can you give us some examples of your excuses?
Not picking up the phone when I needed to make some sales. Not, being frozen in perfectionism around making presentations, right? Instead of going out and making presentations and getting business done, I was just like, oh, I need to tweak the presentation, make it better and better and better and better. And so yeah, I had these perfectionistic tendencies and just didn't make sales, just didn't pick up the phone because I was afraid of the rejection.
Yes, it's a verbal no answer.
Yeah, and it was it's still not nice, but now it's just
it's never nice.
It just doesn't really matter. You just go on to the next one, right?
Yes, and you are on 700 leads in average by podcast. But please continue. So
sure. So again, I drew a line in the sand and said, this is enough. I've had enough. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And then I actually became quite successful very, very quickly after that, and literally retired
What does it mean very successful for you?
That was that I had the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, not work a lot. In fact, I pretty much retired, by the age of 36, and start traveling the world. I lived in the Caribbean, in Spain, in the U.S., Canada, all kinds of cool places. So yeah, there was basically the choice to do whatever it is that you want.
Just don't know what to do. I don't know how much longer I can go on. I don't know. My decision.
Is it like make money online or something similar?
That business was a network marketing business, so a direct selling organization with 10,000 people, mostly in Denmark, a little bit of Germany, and England, and the US. Uh, but yeah, it's a direct selling network marketing and multi-level marketing distribution model.
We move
Do you
someplace.
still believe in that model at the moment?
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
Africa is open and Asia is open and there are
Oh,
millions
it's
of
a great
people,
business model. It's a
it
great
is
business
still.
model. I've kind of stepped away from it for a while, and more train and coach people, but it's an incredible industry that has changed so many people's lives, including my own.
Due to the GDPR law we have, are you still covering Europe?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's extremely important that you stick to those things. Otherwise, you are going to get in trouble relatively quickly.
Patrick, what platform are you using?
So I am actually not sending out that many emails. Funny enough, I'm moving more and more towards Facebook groups
Uh-huh.
and communicating through Facebook groups, and that's where the future is. It's in building communities, because email lists are one-way communication. Facebook groups is three-way communication, because it's not just communication between me back and forth between the members, but it's also communication between the members. And because of that, this three-way communication, you create this incredibly strong bonding within this tribe, and they feel a belonging to that group that they will never feel for an email list. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Right, and
absolutely.
that's why it's one of the next stages. And if you can combine an online with an offline, a real world community, then you have the strongest possible place to market yourself. That's what I'm doing with entrepreneurs in London, and now we're expanding outside of London under the name of Founder Nation. So on Facebook, we are Founder Nation, the Founder Nation group. So yeah,
How much
so that's
members?
in the group we're about 2,800. Now, actually, funny
What's the
enough,
profile?
what do you mean profile?
Members profile.
Oh, so anyone from people wanting to get into business maybe one day, all the way up to extremely successful, multiple multiple times entrepreneurs.
Sounds great. And what's the structure?
The structure of a Facebook group.
Yep. Are there any Q&As or, special
Yeah.
fields of
So
like,
I haven't created that much of a structure from the beginning. I let it be up to the members. So I obviously try to post some stuff, give some content, give some tips away, but I open up to a lot of questions, and try to engage people with that. One of my main ways to communicate with them is via Facebook Lives, and I've started doing Facebook Lives very frequently lately, and they just work incredibly well. Like, I mean, it's just video and communities. That is where you want to go in the future. Those two things, and especially those two things combined, if you combine video with community,
Mhm.
that is the sweet spot.
When you speak about communities, what's your opinion regarding paid membership sites?
They're fantastic. I love it. And
Do
then
you have one?
I don't have one currently myself, but I'm working on one. But why memberships is incredibly important is the recurring income stream. You want to, as far as you can, or as much as you can, build recurring income streams, because today marketing costs are increasing constantly. Click prices are going up. It's getting harder and harder to get attention. So if you don't have a business model where people buy again and again and again, it becomes extremely hard to compete. So
Absolutely.
membership
I
sites
understand.
are fantastic. And by the way, Facebook is working on something, and I think it's actually been released in beta to certain people that you can literally charge. You can create content on your Facebook
Wow.
page or in the groups that you actually charge for via Facebook. So it almost creates their own membership sites within Facebook,
Wow.
and I'm almost certain that that's gonna happen at some point.
And what do you think? Would it be for free or
I don't know.
we don't know. We still
I
don't know.
doubt it. I doubt it. But we'll see. I think there was a talk about that it was going to be they were going to charge a little bit for it. It was not very much, and I don't think they're going to charge a lot for it. They basically want a lot of people on the platform, and they
Yeah,
want them to
sure,
come back.
sure thing,
Yeah.
sure thing.
And that's their
Their
business
classic
model.
strategy, yeah.
Come on. Get up with the get down.
Any membership site platform we can begin with? Or it's not crucial ingredient?
Not really, and I don't think the platform is so important. And in fact, this is one of my main things that I talk a lot about is that like people obsess about the platform. They come and ask me, where should I market myself? Right? Because that's my expertise is building irresistible messages, marketing, sales funnels, attracting more leads, converting more of them into customers that stay with you forever. And they ask me, where should I market myself? And that's every single time I tear my hairs out because it is not about where. It is about the message. If you got the right message, it doesn't matter which platform. Or it's not completely true that it doesn't matter. In some cases, it can matter somewhat. Okay, but you got to understand. Let's say you're a singer. Okay, if you're a singer, does it really matter what microphone I choose to sing in, or does it matter more how my voice is? Right. I'm not going to make money from the microphone. I'm going to make money from my voice. Does it make sense? And everybody is
Absolutely.
asking about the damn microphone. They're like, where should I market myself? No, it's the message. If you become great at creating a message that is irresistible, that it stops people in their tracks, catch attention, drives their desire up so much that they just have to respond. That's what it's about. And they're people. Doesn't matter what platform there is, that's people behind it. And so it's understanding the psychological needs and how to communicate to those needs. That's what is important. And once you find that message, you can advertise in a newspaper or a magazine. You can carry that message personally at a networking event or pitching on a video on YouTube or speaking at an event or creating an ad on Facebook. Doesn't matter. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it's not going to work. Like, doesn't matter if you have a crappy message, doesn't matter which platform you choose, it's going to fail.
And what about prerequisites for understanding others?
It's a very, very, very long subject, but just you could do days and days and days on that. So prerequisite for understanding others is, first of all, be interested in other people. And I think that's typically when you start out in business, most people I see going to networking events and startups, they're not very interested in the customers. They're interested in themselves. They're interested in making a sale, right? They're short-sighted and they just want to make a sale.
Yes, their level of awareness is not so high. There are focusing issues.
You have to start becoming loving people, like really loving people and being fascinated about how it is that we are put together. How does the brain work? That's kind of the basis of my new book, The New Marketing Manifesto, is the subtitle is How Irrational Marketing is Changing Everything You Know About How to Attract Customers. And it's lately, in the last couple of decades, there's so many studies that has shown that our brain is way more irrational than we previously thought.
Come on, take me to the bridge.
Let's go a little bit deeper. Amygdala and neurocortex.
Sure. So we are, well, I mean, it depends on what you're marketing, okay? But in most situations, you need to push the buttons on negative emotion instead of positive. And a lot of coaches like, well, I'm such a, my brand is very positive. I don't like to push the negative buttons. Well, we're way more driven by fear and pain.
Mm. Sure thing. By the way, do you remember Neil Rackham model?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
spin selling.
It's similar. It was 30 years ago or something like that.
Sure, absolutely. The spin selling model. Yeah. So we need to, in more cases than you can imagine, at least test the negative, right? Because we are more willing to get rid of something negative than we are about achieving something positive. So you often want to try to push the fear buttons of something that could happen. And you saw that especially in the beginning of the outbreak, the COVID outbreak and the lockdown. Oh my God, like all the ads was about the sky is going to fall, the the economy is going to tank. We're going to go into the worst recession ever, and you have to buy my training because otherwise you're not going to survive. You're going to be in the street and starve to death, whatever. And it works. It works. I didn't actually do it because I do play in the fear because I know it works. But in this situation, I just thought, you know what? In some ways, it's just not ethical. I don't want to push that button more than what's necessary right now, because I actually don't think that the situation is going to be as horrible as we think. I think we will bounce back relatively soon with our economy. We'll see about that. And we are quite resilient. And when we compare to how the world was 60, 70, 80 years ago, we are way better off today. So people just sometimes need a little bit of a reality check and not get so attached to having an incredible life, because that's here in the Western world, we live charmed lives. I mean, just absolutely incredible lives.
Absolutely.
And even if it's a little bit less incredible than usual, it's still freaking incredible. I didn't actually want to push those buttons more than usual, but it does work.
Manipulation versus values.
Here's my take on manipulation. Okay, I think manipulation is neither good or bad. Most people can consider manipulation to be bad. There's some bad connotations in the word manipulation, but if you look it up in a dictionary, there is no good and bad.
Manipulare, yes.
You go to a chiropractor. A chiropractor will manipulate your back. It's
Absolutely.
out of sync. It's out of balance, and the chiropractor will manipulate. And that's actually the medical term. They manipulate the spine in alignment again, right? So is that bad? No, that's really, really good.
By the way, is there any sales without some level of manipulation?
No, and here's the thing. We all manipulate everyone around us every single day. We actually try to manipulate people. Lots of people say, I don't. Okay, do you wear any cologne? Do you shave yourself? Do you buy a nice suit, a nice dress?
Yep.
Do you go to the hairdresser? Are those not attempts to appear a certain way and affect the opinions? So we all try to manipulate other people around us. So I think what makes it good or bad is the intention behind the manipulation. Is the intention for you to make tons of money and not give a shit about other people? Then it's bad. If your intention is to make tons of money and then help the world and make a lot of people happy in the process, I think it's really, really good.
Okay, sure. And what about your business model?
So I do coaching, consulting, training. I'm going more and more towards group coaching and training and masterminds because I'm just a little bit bored with consulting, because most of the time it requires sitting by myself at home and in front of the computer. And these days, I've just been sitting in front of the computer for too many years. I don't want to do it anymore. So, but that's basically it. So I use the Meetup group to create the community where I create relationships. It's one of the ways I get exposure to people the first time. I use Facebook marketing, both paid and group basic engagement in groups, but also paid marketing, leading them to consume some kind of a free training that will lead into a strategy session with me of some
So,
kind.
excuse me, you're basically defining your funnel now, yeah?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Can you start from the scratch? What's your funnel structure?
sure. So for many years, my beginning of the funnel has been my meetup groups, right? So people join my meetup for free. I would actually love to charge a little bit for it, but Meetup stopped that feature a few years ago. They said it was going to come back. If it comes back, I certainly will charge a little bit, because I just think that it just sorts out the most inserious people, if that's a word, people that are not really serious entrepreneurs. Even if you charge as little as, let's say, £20 a year, it will still weed out people that are just not, this shouldn't actually be there. So that's the beginning. They join the meetup for free. Then they come to a cheap event, or at this point they come to a free webinar because of lockdown. We're not doing events, of course.
The pot was empty, the cupboard was bare. I said, Papa, what's the matter here? I'm waiting, son.
Is it like your lead magnet or?
No, I don't actually consider my events to be lead magnets. I consider them to be a
Value.
Yeah, I just create value for the community as a way for them to see that I actually create real good value. And that I believe that is the reason why we become the biggest in Europe and the second biggest in the world, is that our events just kick ass. Because I don't use them as a way to directly make money with from them. I'm in the long game. I know if people see, oh, I do these fantastic events up front, then they know they can trust me, right? And they'll be more interested in my stuff later down the road. So I play the long game with that. So we have networking events, pure networking events where we hang out at a bar, and then we have speaker events with some of the top speakers in entrepreneurship. And again, here in this situation, we do webinars. And so the next step is then I do some talks from time to time where I actually sell, but it's only from time to time. But typically I'll start engaging with them in the Facebook group, on Facebook.
You're Patrick per se, or do you have some VAs, or what's your organizational structure?
Yeah, so I have three virtual employees. I have one that is basic and admin, doing lots of different stuff, and I have a designer and a videographer. I just started the videographer. Is not actually produced anything yet, but is in the process. I just got that person on board.
Okay, so excuse me if you can continue with your funnel.
Yeah, no worries. And then of course we have in terms of organization structure, we have lots of voluntary crew members that helps out at the events. And that's, by the way, one of the most kick-ass things for me is to have that crew. We have so much fun. We do a lot of events outside, social events. We do dinners at my place and Christmas and all kinds of fun stuff.
Why they are working like voluntary crew members?
Because we actually do fantastic things. I mean, we really make a difference for the entrepreneurial community, and we create so great events that people can see that, and they can see there's something special going on, and they just want to be part of that. Some also join because they just want to be part of an inner network. They want to expand their network. And then some people, they join because they want to run events as well, and they want to learn from us to see how they can run good events. So yes, back to the funnel. So at some point, then I'll give them a freebie. It could be one of my books. It could be a sample. It could be a webinar, and whatever I lead them into, and then I close them at that one for either a cheap training, or I'll get them into a free coaching system of some kind, and then close them on some of my services there or trainings.
I'm waiting on Roosevelt.
So regarding the coaching, are your service a high ticket one?
Yeah, it's not a million, but it's not cheap either. I think I'm like kind of middle, but most people will probably consider it high ticket, right? It depends on whether it's the personal or it's group, because I would say my group coachings are typically very, very inexpensive for what they get, typically between 1,500, 2,500. And then I don't really have a price for the personal stuff because that's on a per case basis, because
Sure.
there's so many different things, scenarios of how much work I need to put into a situation.
Of course. By the way, what was your tipping point for making those, as you said, fantastic things?
The tipping point was desperation. It was just pure, like I couldn't stand my life, and I said, well, I have to do something. And then after I built my first business, I messed it up. I sold that because I thought, well, now I'm just, I know everything, and I'm so smart that I can just snap my fingers and get my success back. But that turned out to be complete BS. I was very, very far from being finished and ready to like succeed once again. So I completely messed up my life. I was very, very close to living on the street for a couple of years. I was seriously in bad shape financially. So building Entrepreneurs in London was also out of desperation in the beginning. It was just pure, like I didn't have money to market myself. So how do I market yourself if you don't have any money? Well, the only thing I could think of at that point was creating a meetup group, right? Or creating a networking event and start generating some business from that. And so actually it's most of the situations it's been out of pure desperation, either financial desperation, or in the first situation it was emotional desperation. I just couldn't stand my life anymore. I just felt so stuck that something just had to happen.
So if we want to continue with our personal and or business development, where can we find you?
So Facebook is my preferred social media platform. So if you want to find me on Facebook, just facebook.com/Patrick M Power, M like in mother. And you can, you find me on all the social media platforms, the major ones, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, under the name Patrick M Powers. And then of course on meetup.com/entrepreneurs in London. And my personal website, where they can actually go and get a sample of my new book, patrickmpowers.com.
I don't know how much longer I can go on.
What I would like to give to the audience here listening is a sample of my new book. It's called The New Marketing Manifesto. And it really is covering some pretty groundbreaking stuff in there. One of the chapters that you're going to get for free is called How to Get the Marketing Idea of a Century, right? And it's about something called the big selling idea, which not very many people know about. It's actually kind of a hidden secret in the top leagues of marketing gurus. And basically it will allow you to completely stand out and look new and fresh and exciting in a marketplace, even if you're doing completely the same as your competitors. Right, so you go to patrickmpowers.com and then just click under the book and go and get the book, the free book sample.
Thank you, Patrick, so much for sharing details regarding your personal life, your business life, your life journey, and everything you do at the moment.
You're welcome. It was exciting to be here. Thanks, Martin.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.